Dear participants, I welcome you all to the second day of the Industry Academia Conclave 2020 on Aquaculture, Avenues, Opportunities, and Challenges, organized by the Guru Nanak Center for Research of the Guru Nanak College Autonomous Velachery, Chennai, being held from 27 July 2020 to 31st July 2020. Now, I request our Vice Principal Madam, Dr. LRS Kalanidhi Madam, to welcome participants.
Thank you, Dr. Mahendra. Good afternoon to our most respected resource person of the day and all members present. On behalf of GNCR, Guru Nanak Center for Research, Guru Nanak College Autonomous Velachery, Chennai, I am very delighted in welcoming you all to the second day of this 5-day Industry Academia Conclave 2020 on aquaculture, avenues, opportunities, and challenges. At the outset, I heartily welcome our most esteemed resource person, the former Director Acting, Head Division of Fish Genetics and Biotechnology, ICAR, SIFA, Uttara, Odisha, Dr. Jitendra Kumar Sundare. Hearty welcome to you, sir. Thank you for sparing your precious time with us all. Hearty welcome to you from our college. I welcome our most respected General Secretary and Correspondent, Mr. Manjit Singh Nair, who has been instrumental in all our academic endeavors. Hearty welcome to you, sir. I welcome our respected Principal, Dr. M.G. Raghunathan, who guides us through with utmost care in each and every activity of our college. With your able leadership, our college could conduct more than 150 programs in these 4 months, despite this lockdown crisis. Hearty welcome to you, sir. I heartily welcome the organizer of this mega event, our Dean Research, Dr. J. Jayanti, whose tireless efforts through FDPs, certificate courses, and sensitization programs enlighten thousands of beneficiaries all over the country. I welcome you, madam. I welcome the host and moderator of this event, Dr. Mahendra Kumar, Assistant Professor of Biotechnology of our college. Hearty welcome to you, sir. I welcome all deans, heads of the departments, members of staff, and students of all the departments of our college, and the learned and learning participants from all over the country. I could see a galaxy of participants, right from scientists, principal investigators, key resource persons, and research supervisors, and scholars, and PG and UG students from all over the country. Very much happy to see you all in this forum. Hearty welcome to you all once again from our GNCR, Guru Nanak Center for Research. Thank you all, and hearty welcome again.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Now I deem it an honor and privilege in introducing our today's resource person, Dr. Jitendra Kumar Sundare, who is presently working as Head Division of Fish Genetics and Biotechnology at the Indian Council for Agricultural Research, Central Institute for Freshwater Aquaculture, Kaushalyaganga, Bhubaneswar, since April 2013. Sir has completed his undergraduate from Odisha University of Agricultural and Technology. He did his MSc from Ravenshaw University. He completed postgraduate diploma in Fisheries Science from ICAR, Central Institute for Fisheries Education, Mumbai. He moved to Kyushu University, Fukuoka, Japan during 2000 for his PhD program in Animal and Marine Bioresource Sciences. He has completed the advanced course in Japanese language from Kyushu University, Japan during 2001. He has completed advanced course in Science Communication from Indian Science Communication Society, Lucknow during 2014 and completed postgraduate diploma in patent law during 2017 from Nalsar, Hyderabad. Dr. Sundare was the chief editor of Journal of Aquaculture between 2016 to 2019 and president of Association of Agriculturists during 2017 to 2018. He is the associate editor of the Journal of the Indian Society of Coastal Agricultural Research, Canning Town. He is the chief editor of International Journal of Fisheries and Aquatic Studies. He is in the editorial board, a member of the Journal of Fisheries and Life Sciences. He has published more than 102 research publications in both national and international peer-reviewed journals. In addition to this, he has 17 conference proceedings, 22 book chapters, 30 extension brochures, 3 technology bulletins and has edited 2 books as chief editor and 3 books as associate editor. Dr. Sundare is the recipient of Hiralal Chaudhary Young Scientist Award in 2008. He has completed 7 projects as principal investigator and heading 4 external funded projects. He has got the distinction of becoming the fellow of Indian Society of Coastal Agricultural Research, Applied Zoologist Research Association, Zoological Society of India, and Odisha Environmental Society. Now he is leading a multidisciplinary team on Center of Excellence projects from DBT for the genetic improvement of freshwater fish Labio Cutla. Sir was the acting director of this ICAR CIFA. Dear participants, I'm sure all of you are going to be greatly benefited by our today's resource person, Dr. Jitendra Kumar Sundare. Sir, the floor is yours. Please proceed.
Thank you. Good afternoon to all of you. Vanakkam. I'll just share the screen. Just give me 1 second. Is it okay? Slide is visible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It is being presented, sir. It is visible.
Yeah. Good afternoon to all of you once again. And I'm thankful to the whole management of Guru Nanak College to give a chance to talk to you. And thank you, Dr. Mahindra, for elaborate introduction. Again, the situation, the global pandemic, and everything has made slow progress in the research industry, everything. And I'm most thankful to all of you to connect in a virtual way. I could say more than 150 participants are there. So what I was going to talk to you about, like innovative aquaculture technology and how it's going to help enhance the production in Indian system. This is what your college, and if you look into the right image, I think hopefully it was before, and below image about the after, and the norms of social distancing and so many things. So coming back to my presentation, this is innovative aquaculture technologies to enhance production. So I'll have a question here, anybody can answer. Those students are here, so why they have chosen Guru Nanak College as their as a institute to learn something, to get a degree? Why? What has made you to get into Guru Nanak College? Or I'll put the question like this: what Guru Nanak College holds the key for what? Any students? Anybody? Sir, can they answer me by unmute themselves?
Yes, sir. They can answer, sir.
Yeah.
Dear students from Guru Nanak College, sir has posted your question. If anyone is interested, please unmute your mic and answer. Thank you.
What has made you to get into Guru Nanak College? There are many colleges in Chennai across India. What has made Guru Nanak College? Anybody? Okay. If no one telling the answer, I have an answer for that. This is what I feel for any changes, right? So if you look into the Trishul principle of management, what you call it's work, will, action, knowledge, right? You had interest to get into Guru Nanak College, and whether Dr. Mahindra, Dr. Janti Madam, or the vice principal madam or principal madam, so they make you to act, whether it's a biology or commerce or arts or science, and finally you get a knowledge. Because of that knowledge, which helps you to be in the society, to be in your peers, or to go for higher studies. So this work principle can be inbuilt in your day-to-day life. So you should have an interest, somebody should mentor you, guide you, and finally the product comes as a knowledge. Okay. So my presentation will be revolved around what is CIFA and how, I think you might be knowing Millennium Sustainable Development Goal. Why fish is important today? Why you are talking about a fish or fisheries? Aquaculture and economics, how aquaculture is helping with the economics, technology involved in aquaculture. Any industry, whether it's a paper industry, heavy industry, automobile industry, The industry is without technology, there is no industry. So how the technology is involved in aquaculture? And I'll be talking about what is innovation, why innovation is important, right? Who gets benefit from innovation, whether you, me, farmer, other stakeholders. Then we'll be talking about innovative aquaculture technologies. So I'll be taking the two different parameters. One is species, how we have improved a new varieties, and the system, how the system got innovated. Then finally challenges in innovation. Every development have its own challenges. So this is SIFA, this is based at Bhubaneswar, and we have 5 regional centers. We have at Punjab and Bhatinda, Gujarat in Anand, then Bangalore, Karnataka, which is close to Tamil Nadu, and Vijayawada, that is in Andhra Pradesh, and West Bengal. Okay, so these 5 regional centers, they work in the regional demands. Okay, like Bangalore people, they work on particular pulsellas, particularly peninsular carps. West Bengal center, they work on mostly on the wastewater aquaculture system. Punjab, they are working in the low saline environment. Okay, so this is our vision is making global aquaculture or global our technology or freshwater aquaculture should be competitive, and mission is excellence in research for developing sustainable technologies. Our institute also is a lead center of carp farming in India, which is a program called Network of Aquaculture Centers in Asia Pacific, NACA, operative under FAO of the UN. So the NACA headquarters based at Thailand. Okay, you might be knowing about Sustainable Development Goal, what United Nations has fixed for all of us. I think everybody directly or indirectly working for sustainable aquaculture, sustainable development goals. As far as aquaculture is concerned, we are mostly working on no poverty. Aquaculture can substantially help to eradicate malnutrition, the food and help in the food security. Zero hunger, and the second is life below water, right? So mostly, even though 17 sustainable developments were interrelated, but as far as aquaculture is concerned, we are looking into 3. Maybe somebody else's view might be different, but from my point of view, I feel this aquaculture can directly address these 3 issues: zero hunger, no poverty, and life below water. Why fish is important? Okay, fisheries and aquaculture is around 117 million tons globally. 50% of the fish consumed from aquaculture, the world's fastest growing food sector, and it have livelihood. 10 to 12% world populations are depending upon fisheries. Okay, and health and nutrition, 17% global animal protein. You have protein from the pork, you have protein from the beef, you have protein from the poultry, from the chicken, from the duck. The whole animal protein industry is around 70%. 1 billion people as primary animal source food. 3 billion with more than 20% animal protein intake. 150 million tons of human consumption. Nutritious product for taking under nutrition. You might be knowing many fishes are having lot of micronutrients. Like you take the example IRA mean of Tanjavur. It is sold is more than 800 rupees per plate in Madurai. And you might be knowing IRA mean how much medical benefits is there, biomedical importance of the IRA mean. In economics, if you look into economics of the fish, it's a 1 trillion USD trillion value. And the world's most traded animal product. If you look into the export across the globe, this is the one product which almost move around the globe. And this is a growing sector, and you have a lot of opportunity for the new jobs. If you sum up, we have a livelihoods, opportunity, gender equity, you can have given lot of responsibility to the women, food security and nutrition, and the climate change. You have lot of species which are more resilient, can be grown both in fresh as well as brackish water environment. So this is, Ross Hoston Group leader at the Rosenell Institute. Even they also mention it. This is one of the fastest growing sector and in the world and generates significant employment opportunities. This is none other than the Rosenell Institute. What are the challenges? If you look into the left side, 9 billion people by end of the century. Okay. So what are the challenges? Impact of declining water and land resources. And since you all are based in Chennai and many people are listening from outside, you know how the water, I have been in Chennai from 2007 to 10, I was there in 97 to 99. We know the issues in Chennai as far as the water is concerned. Impact of climate change. Look into the, like in the recent flood situations, whether it's a Kedarnath or looking into the recent flood in Assam. Look into Assam, how Assam is toiling now to get rid of the flood. Then intensification and spatial consent of the farms. If anybody is traveling from Chennai to Andhra Pradesh, you can look into the intensification of farms in Nellore area. Increase the aquatic animal health, because we have a very less surveillance as far as the aquatic animal health is concerned. So that is another challenge. You have lot of exotic pathogens are getting into your system, okay? And increasing volume and diversity of trade, because everybody is looking for, like, as a fish or fish product. Biosecurity, this is one of the major issues. Look into the present COVID-19. We don't have any secured measure for the pandemic. Okay, sustaining production and livelihoods, already which we discussed in the previous slide. Okay, India ranks second in the aquaculture. But if you look into the gap between India and China, it's very huge, right? And 62% of the food fish is come from aquaculture. So now you might have realized why aquaculture is important, because we get 62% from the world aquaculture, rest comes from the marine resources. And Dr. Santanam Sari is there, he might be knowing how the marine resources are declining. Many people are there, you might be knowing how the marine fishes are declining, right? So India is in the second position. We need to upscale our production. When you want to upscale our production, you need to have a good technology. Okay, how does this aquaculture is helping the economic growth? You look into this particular arrow mark. Okay, aquaculture, give option for the seed business, feed people, feed mill, farmer, transporter, retailer, and the consumer. I think all of those are attending. Many people might be non-vegetarians, and whether the Chintadiri Pet or near to Egmore or this Rayapura market, how the marine fishes is being traded in across Chennai, right? So you know very well. So the aquaculture, which you call it a blue revolution, it can give a lot of opportunities to many people. So that's why we call it a wider economy and other beneficiaries, right? This is the value chain. If you look into this particular bar, and you look into how India eats, right? You can look into, like, you see the this one, Tamil Nadu. Look into that. 97.65% are non-vegetarian. Hardly 2.35% are vegetarian. If you look into northern sector like Gujarat, Rajasthan, and Punjab, Haryana, they mostly, like, the green circles are more. But if you look into eastern India and southern India, except Karnataka, red rings are more. So this is more about non-vegetarian percentage. When I'm talking about non-vegetarian, it includes both red meat as well as the fish. But there is a study, the fish eating population in urban and rural area are increasing in India. So if you look into this red circle, so you might be realized by this time, definitely we need to have a good meat protein, whether it's a fish or poultry or the beef or other chicken, whatever maybe. Okay. How does this aquaculture industry gives you a scope and space to innovate yourself? If you look into this tree, okay, and everybody know, if it is easy to remember, you can remember BSF, like, Border Security Force. When I talk about Border Security Force, B for brood, you should have a good brood or a brooder or the, like, right? Then S means seed. If you are having a good breed, then you can get a good quality seed. Then finally comes feed, which is required for early stages, young stages, and adult stages. So if you look into this tree, so you should have a, like, seed production comes from a good breed. Then you need to have a good feed. Then you should have a good health management practices, like a disease, what we are looking for. If you know, I think everybody, all of you might be aware about how health management important this global pandemic has taught us actually. Whether it is your own sanitation, avoiding this microbial contamination, avoiding fungal contamination, every problem. So health is important. Outreach is more about extending the technology. When you develop a technology, how it is reaching to the plant cells. Then genetics and biotechnology. who does not understand the genetics and biotechnology. Today, your pandemic test is being done through this particular biotechnological RT-PCR method, right? So this is what the importance of genetic. And finally, when you combine all this, finally comes to grow out. Grow out means when you get table size fish for your own consumption. So these are the sector which helps you to innovate. You can innovate in your extension system. You can innovate in your genetics, biotechnology, even quality seed production. You can develop a new feed. You can have a lot of detection kit for pathogens, and you can have a lot of process vaccination and therapeutics. This is a simple, like, many people might not be knowing about how does the aquaculture play. If you look into the graph, if you look into x-axis, you have an input, the seed, feed, fertilizer, and the y-axis is fish productivity. So question is, when you go for extensive farming, you have a low inputs. With a limited scale, you can have a lesser production. But when you want to have an improved, more production, you have to give an intermediate level of inputs. You have to add aeration, you have to add good feed, you have to have a management practices. And if you want to go for high input like RS, bioflog, aquaponics, hydroponics, then IMTA, what we call integrated multi-tropic aquaculture, or FIMTA, freshwater integrated multi-tropic aquaculture, FIMTA. So this purpose of this graph is, this is more about when you go for higher inputs, the complexity arises, but your production goes up. But when a complexity arises, unless you have innovative measures to handle it, then finally you end up with a disease. Look into the 94, 97 era of white spot diseases, because we went for intensification and now we'll end up with a lot of disease problems. Okay, so this is what aquaculture talks about: higher the input, higher the production, but complexity remains. Okay, now if you look, I think everybody might be knowing about this Prime Minister Matsya Sampada Yojana. The government has come with a very good plan for developing aquaculture fisheries sector in India. And if anybody might have listened to Mann Ki Baat, last Sunday, so Prime Minister has talked much about a particular technology called pole farming technology. So in the Prime Minister Matsya Sampada Yojana, they have targeted, now we are a production level of 13.70 million metric ton on the current production. So they want to have a production level of 22 million metric ton by 2024-25. Look into that. 9 million metric ton they need. So when you need 9 million metric ton, you should have an innovative species, you should have a system intensification, system innovation, then only you can achieve this particular production. And right side, if you see, this is the life stages of fish. First you get an egg, then you get a spawn, then a fry, fingerling, yearling, right? So if you look into this particular value chain, actually, you have chance to innovate at every stages of a fish life cycle, right? So this is a general picture I have shown to you. This is mostly in case of the carps. But if you look into brachycerators, the cases may be different. Only the duration of the spawn to fry to fingerling, it's a different. But the question, this is, the whole production cycle evolve around this. So you can innovate yourself in egg production, better spawn, better fry, better fingerling, and better yearlings. You can go for a gene editing, you can go for a genomic selection, you can go for transgenic. Everything is possible in this particular value chain. Okay, so till this, I think you might be knowing an impression about why aquaculture is important, why innovation is essential. So I'll be taking you a little bit about what is innovation. Then we'll move to the innovative technology. So I think this picture is very clear. Why the front man is running ahead of these three persons, because he could innovate. Okay, instead of pushing a rectangular or squarish box, let me roll a circular ball by which I can move first. Okay, so this is what in a general principle it's called innovation. So if you look into this particular person, I think everybody is knowing about him. I don't need to introduce to him. So once he made a statement, we cannot solve our problems with the same thinking we used to when we create them. I think everybody might be knowing about lockdown 1, lockdown 2, lockdown 3, lockdown 4. Then we start the unlock 1, unlock 2. Right? This is all like, every lockdown phases, you are innovating yourself. Government is coming with new ideas, new guidelines. Look into whether it's RT-PCR or a serological test, antigen test, kit-based. how much innovation you could see starting from 22nd of March as on today of 26th or 28th of July. So you might have visualized how innovation taking place. Everybody is talking about the vaccine. Just look into that. Look into these below images, right? When I was in Chennai in 97, we used to go to public booths to make a call, and we will be in the queue, right? And many people might be like in the other side, they may not listen. Then the shopkeeper of a local, okay, you go back, somebody else in come. Look into the pages, first, second, third. For now, the communication has become the most significant innovation as far as the global world is concerned. You handle everything. Today we are connecting each other completely in the virtual mode. I am sitting in one corner in Odisha, you are across the India, right? So this is innovation is more about new mantra, innovate or perish. So we need to grow with innovation. Either you innovate or you die. This is very clear. Innovation is the search for and a discovery, development, improvement, adoption, and commercialization of a new process or a new product. So innovation is a state of mind. Just look into this image. Somebody is quite innovative to collect the rainwater. Somebody is looking at him, right? So you are doing innovation almost every day. You are doing innovation. If you look into that, the face mask, I think it is one of the most innovative product, starting from 2 crore diamond mask to even 1 lakh, 2 lakhs golden mask. Even you have a 30-40 rupee mask also available, right? So why you should innovate? Because you have a vision, you have ingenuity, okay? You need to look into creativity, then you get incentive out of a new innovation. You can inspire many people, you can have a good planning, you can develop a product, you can motivate many people. First of all, you have a team which you work for innovation, and you have a brainstorming. So these are the process, like what you call jazz of innovations. These all process you need to follow if you to look for a innovative product. Okay, let me give you an example. Discovery of a penicillin was an innovation, right? So upon examining some colonies of Staphylococcus aureus, Dr. Fleming noted that a mold called Penicillium notatum had contaminated his petri dishes. After carefully placing the dishes under his microscope, he was amazed to find that the mold prevented the normal growth of the staphylococci. So this is a mere, it was a observation. Then it created an idea. Oh, there was some factor in the Penicillium mold that not only inhibited the growth of the bacteria, but more important, might be harnessed to combat infectious diseases. The idea has come. Okay, so the idea has to translate into research. So when they did research, it was confirmed and the observed phenomenon by redoing the same experiment. Okay, then they have developed a discovery called penicillin antibiotics. Then finally it was produced and marketed. I think from penicillin example, you might have got an idea now how the innovation process takes place. Okay, I think all of you are like, what is Chennai Super King fan. So I need an answer here. Can anyone tell me what is the common in this? How are they different? Anybody? Anybody?
Dear participants, resource person sir wants to make this an interactive session. So kindly, if anyone could unmute your mic and answer to his question, it will be fine.
Bye bye.
Hello. What is common? How they are different? Okay, I do not kill time. The common is the cricket. And if you look into the white side game, it was a test. Then you have a 50 over, then you have a 20 over. And the difference is they could sell this product as one of the most profitable game across the world. They brought innovation into this. How? 20 over, virtual streaming, live streaming, cheerleaders, so many things, right? So this is what you could understand. Why I'm bringing this cricket, which is make you understand. Unless you innovate yourself in properly, you are not going to stay in the market, whether it's education or the company. right? Look into ambassador vehicle. Are you seeing any ambassador vehicle in Chennai Central? You have few black and yellow ambassadors in Chennai airport. And even the like mostly it is more about Fast Track, Ola, Uber, Mega Cab. These are the things. Why? Because this traditional taxi could not innovate themselves, could not provide the service. So you must understand aquaculture is like the same way. Unless you innovate, you cannot have a good stay across the society, across the sector. Okay. Creativity and discovery skill leads to what? Anybody? Okay. This is idea. Okay. So creativity and a discovery skill convert into the idea. When you take a challenge, so the idea become innovation. So you should have a courage to change or risk taking. Just remind this word change. Remember this word change, risk taking. I will be coming to that. So you have a discovery skill or you have a creativity, then you have an innovative idea, and the innovative idea, when you take a challenge to this innovative idea, it's become a product called innovation. So let's look into the development phases of innovation, right? So let me talk to you about opportunity identification. So I need to identify opportunities. Let me give you an example. You know, everybody knows you have poor quality seed, you have a good quality seed, right? Or you have a poor quality mobile, or you have a good quality mobile, right? So I have identified an opportunity that in the aquaculture sector we don't get a good quality seed. So what I decided, okay, let me innovate a fish which will be improved as a genetical improvement. Like take the example of Jayanti Rohu. I'll come into that. So I have identified a Rohu can be selectively bred. So this is what identify the opportunity. And how to develop the opportunity? Then I need to develop a hatchery. I need to go for interaction with many scientists. I need to have a collaborator with the foreign people. I need to have a geneticist. I need to have a statistician. So in that we have developed a opportunity. First we identify the opportunity. Then we have developed the opportunities. Then look at enterprise planning and scaling up. So when I develop the opportunities, I have a full technology with me, right? So that technology need to be demonstrated across India, multi-location demonstration to know the product is good or bad. So develop the product strategy, scale up, and a scale prototype. You develop a prototype. This is what prototype is. Then finally it is incubate and launch. So you develop a product. This is to need to be a launch. Okay. So you can go in a reverse direction also. You think about what you are going to incubate. Then you plan what is to be scale up. Then you plan what are the opportunities developed, what are the opportunity identification. Take the example of the cricket, right? So they have developed a product. Okay, it should be 20 over. So they have a stadium. So they could go for auctioning, right? So they had a playing of the match, incubate, and they have launched that. I don't remember. I know when I was in Chennai, there was another CPL, Cricket Premier League. The players used to play in Kanatur. I forgot in the Kanatur area, right? But that could not sustain. Look into that. Because of innovation money, the IPL is moving to Dubai now. So I'm bringing, close proximity by which you can remember why innovation is so important. So types of innovation. One is biological innovation, that is plant breeding. You might be knowing lot of genetically modified BT cotton, BT brinjal, BT mustard, right? Mechanical innovation, radios and car, right? Chemical innovation, pesticides. Take the example, pesticides called glyphosate, Roundup. Then institutional innovation, water user association, patents, bank, stock, market, conservation, district and monk. I will tell you one example. When I was in Egmore, our office was in Egmore. To get a draft for applying somewhere, it is to take almost half day. And you go to bank, give a slip, then you go around to Asoka restaurant, have a lunch, then come back, get the thing. Just imagine the innovation has brought in the banking sector. You are sitting at home, you pay in Google Pay, Bhim Pay, UPA, whatever is not there. So I think by this time you can understand what the innovation is much important now. So who gets benefit of innovation? One is farmer. We look into agriculture innovation because farmer benefits the improved farm economics with improved yield. Look into high yielding variety. You know, MS Swaminathan Research Foundation is there. You might be know how many improved varieties of paddy they have developed. Okay, reduced cost of input, ability to de-risk against the commodity price fluctuation, monsoon failures. You have a drought tolerant paddy. You have a inundated paddy. All technology has come. Consumer also benefit with improved access to safe, nutritious, and affordable food. Right? If you look into this during pandemic period, how many online portal has come to give you fish, chicken, all poultry product at your doorstep? Look into Big Basket, how it is helping farmer and to you. You don't need to go out of your area. So this is what best example organic product. Okay, let's come into aquaculture innovation. Look into a vicious circle of the poor quality seed. I think many people might not be knowing. I have told initially seed is a critical input for aquaculture. When you look for poor quality seed, the poor quality seed is a low cost of production, lower price in the seed market, lower price for the farmer, low price expectation, and a poor quality seed. This is a typical vicious circle, and you can compare with the poor quality water packet we get in across India, and you compare with the good quality whether Kinley or Pepsi is giving you. Okay, so the point vicious circle, it is about producing a poor quality, and if you want to make it a virtuous circle, so you need to have a better quality seed, higher profit to the farmer, better price for the seed, profit for hatcheries, high invest in quality maintenance. Hatchery means where the seed is being produced, right? You can look in the organic product. Today, why organic products fetches higher price? Because they follow virtuous cycle, not the vicious cycle. Okay, let's come to this breed improvement of growth and disease resistance. Jayanti Roho. So we are in the 10th generation. 10th generation is Jayanti Roho. How it was selectively bred? We took this Roho from more than six riverine system. We bred individually with each other. One tail with other female and male. Finally, we could know that there is an improvement in a particular stock. So we at the end of 10th generation, we are getting 18% genetic gain. 18% genetic gain means suppose a normal row grows 10 gram, so this will be growing 18 gram, right? And you have a faster growth, 40 to 50% faster growth. And we have a disease resistant row which is against Aeromonas hydrophila. You know, this is a particular pathogens which creating a lot of problem to Jayanti Roho. So this is what innovation has come in the selectively breeding as well as the disease resistant. Then move to Katla. This is another variety. We have already working on more than 9 population from different regions, and as of now we have got a 15% genetic gain, right? So then look into shining bar. Shining bars are in a different color, but when you breed them naturally, you can see the different coloration of the male and female, right? This is what one more innovation we have got it here. Scampi, fresh water prawn. So we have got a 7% genetic gain. Again, innovation has this is being selectively bred with the higher growth potentialities. I'll give you might be knowing about non-browning. Let me get into a little bit the plant science. Non-browning apple, right? So the technological you get a non-browning apple. I think those who have not already tried, you can try. You can take an apple and chew it, keep it for 10-20 minutes. You can see the browning of the apple. And this non-browning apples, I don't know if this is available in Chennai or not, but Delhi it is available. So this is purely genetically modified apple, but it has no negative effect. Only they have knocked out the browning gene. Okay, the browning gene by which they can get this particular product. So non-browning, browning is mediated by polyphenol oxidase, this particular enzyme. So people can take a variety of chemical precursors such as catechol in apples and convert them into other compounds. So the consumer don't prefer if it is not perfect, right? So the PPO has been knocked out. Let's look into that. How do you go for steps for making transgenic fish? So you need to have a promoter and the growth hormone, right? So we are targeting a transgenic fish with having a higher growth potentialities. So you need to develop a gene construct, so that will act as a auto-transgene. I'm repeating it here. You have a promoter, you have a growth hormone, then you have a gene construct. And when you put this gene construct into a bacterial plasmid, so you get a development of auto-transgenic construct. So you have a promoter, you have a gene, you have a construct, then you go for micro manipulation of the embryos, you go for in vitro evaluation, then you get a transgenesis. And the first transgenesis in India, it was done in CCMB by Dr. Kitish Majumdar group. You can see the normal rohu and the auto-transgenic Labiorota. The larger one was auto-transgenic and the younger one is, smaller one is the normal rohu. Okay, take the example what is happening in the global scale. I think everybody might be knowing about the aqua bounty salmon, right? So this regulator sequence from a ocean pout gene coding domain from Chinook salmon, growth hormone, cDNA. So what has happened? You have a promoter and you have growth hormone, cDNA, then you have a terminator. So transgene DNA micro injection to the embryo, then finally you get a transgenic founder and a non-transgenic progeny. You can see the transgenic one the larger in size and the non-transgenic are the smaller in size. I will give you another example. You can look into this. Look into this particular picture. You just have a look into that, the growth difference between transgenic and a non-transgenic. Okay, so you go to the next, I can tell you, look into this. What has happened actually? The growth hormone from Chinook salmon, that is one, joins a promoter from ocean pout. This is a eel, okay, an eel like fish, splice into Atlantic salmon DNA. So new growth hormone directs the gene to produce hormone all year round instead of only summer. What has happened in the normal salmon, during summer only this growth hormones genes are largely expressed, by which it can have a growth. Because you might be knowing that they grows maximum in the winter season. So what happens? So after this transgenic, so now the salmon can grow around the year. And look into the image. The same growth period, both fish on at 18 months of age. Larger one is almost 3 kilo. The smaller one is more about 1.3 kilo. The growth period is 18 months. Okay. So this is what, like, they have developed a product and it had gone to a lot of bad cases. Finally, the genetically modified aqua bounty salmon is available in USA market. FDA didn't give permission. So finally it is in the market. It has no side effect as of now. You can see what I told you about the advantage, you see the growth difference between, okay. So you get an aquatic advantage salmon of the growth of 500 gram in the span of 250 days from the first feeding, whereas you get the same way product of genome editing tilapia, right? So this is tilapia has been developed. This tilapia, what is having the specialties? 70% significant improvement in the fillet yield. You might be knowing how tilapia fillet is being used for different purpose. 16% growth rate improvement. Okay. Then 40% feed conversion ratio rate improvement. In shortening of the feeding time, it will be possible to reduce the disease risk and decrease in the input cost. You might be knowing recently this tilapia lake virus has come. So people are working to develop an anti-lake virus strain also. Then let's come about the this system diversification. Okay, this is a recirculatory aquaculture system. You can have a production of whether it's a fresh water, brackish water, or marine water in the recirculatory aquaculture system. So what happens here? You can maintain a congenial environment which the fish breed and improve further, and it is easy way of domestication. And if anybody has not seen, please go to Sibas Muthukadu Hatchery, this near to Boat Club. You can see our well-established recirculated aquaculture system, whereas I worked for more than 7 years there. So this is about recirculatory aquaculture system. This is about the new innovative technology, and this particular RS can be used for the seed production as well as for the grow out. This is like biofloc in a grow out system. Among your attending, one Dr. Santanam is there who is very thorough in this particular subject. So what I'm telling you, this biofloc system, it is about the adjusting the carbon and nitrogen ratio and increase the flock volume. Flock volume, this flock is more of periphyton, heterotrophy bacteria. So one experiment, the group of Dr. Paningrai from SIBA they did, when they do the bioflux system, they could get a survival of 98 to 99% in bioflux system compared to 91 to 92%, right? Even grow out phases in case of Vanamai, and they could get 4.5 kilo per cubic meter in bioflux system compared to 2.5 kilo in the normal system. So the point what I'm telling, the technology has helped you to maximizing your production from a system. And this is aquaponics. I think you might be knowing a lot of aquaponics has evolved across India now. In a small medium, you can grow your fish, you can grow your vegetables or flower. So this is what aquaponics is coming up. And there are some organizations in Hyderabad, they are having a commercial scale of aquaponics. And some people, if I remember, somewhere near Uti also, they are having large scale aquaponics. Again, this is a homestead farming system. Maybe in Tamil Nadu is not popular, but this particular farming system is more popular in the Kerala and the northeastern called Tripura and in Orissa and West Bengal. So this is a farming system where you can improve everything. Look into the component, horticulture, aquaculture, animal husbandry, and these all systems are interlinked, and there is a good trade-off, right? If you do it with all improved varieties, you can have a your own safe produce at your place. Then you might be knowing the pangasius, catfish, okay? So can be perfectly reared in non-conventional area. And the Lithopenes Vanamai is non-coastal area. Now Vanamai is being grown in Punjab, Haryana, and Rajasthan, right? And pangasius is grown in Jharkhand. So what Jharkhand, they brought it about the case farming, that's a new technology. They grow Vanamai, Pangas in the case, and the other states like Punjab, Haryana, Rajasthan, they grow the Vanamai. So the point what I'm telling, when you have a ground saline water, what the species can be grown. And this is already I've talked about Vanamai in inland waters. It is being done in Orissa, West Bengal, Punjab, Haryana, Rajasthan. And another thing is about the feed. If you look into the left side image, this is all traditional feed is going on. But if you look into target of 22.5 million metric ton by 2024-25, by this it's not practically possible. So you need to move forward for a artificial feed or supplementary feed. And anybody traveling from Chennai to Nellore, you can see how the big feed mill has come in this one. And change is a must, but change is difficult. You need to go for a change. Okay, this is another called SIPA brood. It's a broodstock diet. Already we have a demonstration more than 5 to 6 locations in Tamil Nadu, starting from from Tanjavur, then Malimotha, and the Bhavanisagar Reservoir. We have used this particular technology. This is a specific broodstock diet. And if you look into the figure left side, fertilization 80 to 90% the normal feed, where you get 95% in SIPA brood. Hatching, if you get 70 to 80%, or 90 to 95%. If you look into spawn to fry survival, which is the national average is 20%, but any farmer adopt something, they get 30 to 40%. But here, if you use this particular food for the broodstock, you get 60 to 70%. Look into innovations in marketing and marine freshwater products. Lycius, Fresh to Home, so many companies has come because they have brought the innovation. Right? Even you look into Amazon, Flipkart, Big Basket, now JioMart is launching. So this is what innovation in marketing. You get everything at your doorstep. So this is one step of step of marketing. And coming back to COVID-19 and aquaculture, I have only another 2 slides. So look into the COVID-19 and aquaculture. What has happened actually? Supply chain has been disrupted. Absolutely. Feed price has increased. Labor shortage because all migrant labor moved to the respective place. Social distancing. How do you maintain an aquaculture farm with a lot of social distancing? You need to catch the fish. Export has declined. Price has been low. Lack of technical services. You don't get technical people at your farm stay. But the positive point is online sale of fish and prawn. Artificial intelligence, sorry, there is a spelling mistake. Artificial intelligence has come to play. You can sit at your home, you can manage your farm. Virtual platform, today what you're talking. and you are connecting the world. How many webinars is going across India or across the globe, local to global? You have the capacity, whether you are Tanjavur or a Vardur or Tirumaniyeri or any places in Tamil Nadu, you can connect anybody in the global. Value addition, right? And domestic consumption. Domestic consumption has to increase. I'll put this question, and assumption of DC scenario in aquaculture. You might be knowing what is DC. This is about BC, DC and AC. BC means before Corona, DC means during Corona, AC means after Corona. So this is, you need to debate at your college level. So DC period will extend beyond December 2022 unless we have a vaccine. Okay, people are expecting second peak is somewhere January, February 2021. So during Corona, will bring a new consumer mindset challenges. Whether I have to buy from X platform or I buy from Y platform as far as the fish and aquaculture is concerned. Then consumer buying power will reduce due to drop in economy. Unless you have the money, you can go for this online platform. So this is, you can see how this particular global pandemic has disturbed us. Challenges and innovators of innovations. One is strategic challenges, when you have unclear goals. Operational structural challenges, building an effective process. If unless you are building an effective process, you can move further. Legal challenges. So, like, problem with intellectual property, like, the fight between TVS Suzuki and Bajaj group for the bike. And cultural challenges, negative attitude and worries. If I develop something in Orissa, maybe people in Tamil Nadu, they may not like this. Then taking innovation forward, charting your goals, first fix your goals. Yes, I have to do it. Listing the pros and cons, right? What is the positive and negative consequence of your innovation? Choosing a method and piloting. Okay, this is the right path. Okay, final is executing and repeating what we told about the redoing a research. Right? Execute your open innovation method if necessary, return to forward. Okay, so you need to plan accordingly. So, like, once Charles Darwin said, it is not the strongest species that survive, not the most intelligent, but the ones most responsive to change. So when we have response to change, staying at home, wearing mask, you are have a less chances of contamination of the COVID, or you are not declared as a super spreader. So I'll conclude my slide with stay home, stay safe. Thank you very much to all the staff members of Guru Nanak College for patience hearing. So I'm ready for any question sessions.
Thank you very much, sir. Dear participants, if you have any queries, comments and questions, you can unmute yourself and ask to sir, or you can type in the chat box, which will be read to sir.
Yes, sir, this is Santanam from Bharat University.
Yeah, good afternoon, please.
Sir, good afternoon, sir. I don't know how to say about this lecture. Actually, I have a long association with you, but this is the first time I am hearing your lecture. So I would like to emphasize here, this is the best lecture. This is the best lecture which I attended in my lifetime. So
thank you, sir.
My compliments and my congratulations. Okay, your PPT, especially your PowerPoint, is self-explanatory, sir. Okay.
Thank you.
So you have explained about in detailed manner about the technological innovation, starting from the first slide itself and the last slide. There is a really excellent, informative and inspirational lecture. So this is an inspirational lecture, sir. I would like to convey my sincere and wholehearted compliments and thanks to you for your excellent lecture. And this is a need of the hour, especially for the budding scientist. As Dr. Sundaresh sir explained, the aquaculture is one of the promising sector which is going to solve the malnutrition, poverty and the hunger related issue, because we have exploited the resources available on land. We have over exploited. The next the source is ocean or aquatic ecosystem where the lot of resources are there, and instead of harvesting the resources from the natural ecosystem, as a resource person rightly pointed out, we can go for developing the technology for sustainable way of aquaculture. So definitely, so that our government of India now they launched the deep sea mission. So deep sea mission, which include deep sea aquaculture.
Yeah.
The oceans going to be one of the potential source in future to provide a cheapest protein source available on land. So really, this is an excellent lecture, sir. I can say this is my best lecture attended in my lifetime. My
Thank you.
Thank you for your excellent lecture, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Sachin sir, you want to post the question yourself, or can I ask a question for you?
Yeah, please.
Sachin?
Hello?
So Mr. Sachin has asked, is it, hello?
Yeah, hello?
Yeah, please, ma'am.
Yeah, please, sir. Sachin sir, you go ahead and
Good
ask your
afternoon,
question.
sir. It was
Good
very
afternoon.
wonderful lecture,
Thank you.
and the information which we have given, it was very, very beneficial. But one thing I noticed in your lecture, that amidst COVID-19, you have
Yeah.
said that it is one of the opportunity that one can sell the fishes online. So, sir, is it possible?
Yeah. See, question is there are a lot of people are having an online platform like Lycius, Fresh to Home. There are many companies. If you maintain a quality and if you maintain a good post-harvest system, people are ready to come and take to you. By the way, where are you based? आप कहाँ पे हैं? Sachin ji, where are you based?
I am from Maharashtra, sir.
Okay, I can, otherwise you can get a number from me. I can connect you the people, those who are really in need of the fish to be sold in the online platform.
Yes, sir. But I'm talking about the freshwater fishes which have been harvested, which have been cultivated by these local fishermen.
Yes.
And is it possible for them to sell their fishes online?
No, possible, but the point is somebody has to coordinate because they don't have the business proposition. But if you can tie up with, I know some of my juniors are working in Bombay. If you wish, I can connect with them, few my batchmates like Baisali, Kundankar, many people are working. I can connect them. Really, it will be a great help for them to get a constant supply of the fish to the entrepreneur. That is possible without any doubt.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Good evening, doctor.
Good evening.
Good evening. This is Kesavan.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon. Good evening. Yeah.
You have given an excellent presentation. Congrats, sir.
Thank you.
Just I have two clarifications, sir. You had mentioned about Jayanti Rogo.
Yeah.
Which is growing fast.
Yes.
Why farmers are not coming forward to culture Jayanti Rogo, sir? Only few farmers.
No. I think when we met in the Tyagaraja College last time also we had the same discussion.
Yeah.
Let me tell you now, as far as our NFDP and CFAS, I can tell you Jayanti Rogo's presence across India is 12%. Okay. 12% people the whatever Rohu production you are getting, 12% is covered by Jayanti Rogo.
Yes, sir.
The point is, only 12% of the farming area. See, Jayanti Rogo covers around 80% across. Rohu occupies around 65 to 70% across India. Yes. So out of 65 to 70%, Jayanti Rogo occupies 12%. The point what I'm telling, I'll tell you, many farmers are breeding Jayanti Rogo, but they are not selling it as a Jayanti Rogo. Okay, that is number one. The number 2 point is, except Andhra Pradesh, you can go to any state, you can see the footprint of the Jayanti Rogo. The point what I'm telling, when farmer demands Jayanti Rogo, he does not get Jayanti Rogo, then you know the difficulties. That's a typical mindset of us. What I'll tell you, good thing is NFDP is coming forward with to have 100 hatcheries across India, which is going to produce Jayanti Rohu from 2021 onwards.
Okay, good, sir. Good news.
Yeah.
Then why is Campi culture totally eradicated from India, sir?
No, it's not eradicated. Still, Campi culture is going on in West Bengal and Odisha.
There were so many freshwater seed producing centers, hatcheries in Madras coast.
Yeah.
No hatcheries producing now, sir. Now I was searching. There's one of my friends from.
Sir, 1 minute. Sir, let me
Sir,
finish up
some
Dr. Kesavan's answer.
Yeah.
So Scampi is still being there in Odisha and West Bengal. Scampi is, you know, if you look into Scampi shrinkage, it's what about a white-tail disease. Second thing is Vanamai. Because the Vanamai, the way it is expanded across India, and you can, you know, Vanamai technology completely, it's customized. And you have everything in your hand when you go for the Vanamai technology.
Yes. Yes.
So unless you have a package of practices, you know, to counter Vanamai, the Scampi situation will be like that.
Yes, sir.
So it's not a mistake of the species. It's a question how do you approach those Scampi species.
Okay, sir. Because I was searching for a few specimens for research purpose. I have requested so many scientists and my friends in Andhra farmers.
Okay.
I didn't get even one piece also such Campi culture. Scampi.
Sir, if you need
Major
the
area. Andhra
No, no,
was
if-
major area.
no, sir, if you need Scampi species, you contact me. I can send you. There is no problem. We have stuff.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, sir. You have given a wonderful presentation, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Can I read out some other questions, sir?
Yes, ma'am. Please.
Sir? Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Dr. Elizabeth Junais has asked, have you come across a virus affects aquatic animals in which could mimic coronavirus?
No. Actually, there was already some study has been done in exactly, I don't New Zealand or UK, but as of now, there is no, this coronavirus is not the source from any live aquatic organism as far as India is concerned, as of now.
Yeah. One Mr. Praveen Dubey has asked, do you have any kind of market chain in the coastal part of Karnataka who can sell the cage-farmed seabass and other species online? I think.
See, like, you know, market, there are few companies, those are online, people are coming up now, but there is no value chain established for the cage-grown sea bass to be like, you know, sell in Karnataka. But there is a possibilities to get linked. I will request them to get in touch with the NFDP or MPDA, by which they can link you to the right person to go for a proper linkage by which you can sell your product actually.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Mr. Seshapanindra has asked, sir, what are the modern techniques adapted to reduce the distress caused to the fishes during the culture practices?
Can you repeat the question, ma'am?
What are the modern techniques adapted to reduce the distress caused to the fishes during the culture practices?
To address the distress.
Yes, sir. What are the modern techniques that are adapted to reduce the stress that is caused to during?
Okay. See, the question is no stress. It's a whole of a human creation. You know, whether when you know someone put you in this quarantine center, whether we don't have issue or not, you came into the stress. So if your pond environment is perfect and your feeding management perfect, so there is a less question of the stress. That is number one. If the stress has come, there are a lot of products are available which I would recommend to get rid of the stress. The point what I am going to tell you, if it is freshwater aquaculture, have a 300 kilo of the liming every 15 days. If it is a brackish water aquaculture, you should have a proper water quality and proper aeration facilities by which you are not getting into the stress. And you know, if you have a stress in intensive aquaculture, you should have a distress factor by applying lot of probiotics, soil bioremediation, aeration, many things. Okay.
Yes, sir. Mr. Amala Lurduraj has asked, the fishes, it's from a common man, he is asking, the fishes caught from sea differs from the fishes brought from aquaculture.
Yeah. See, the point is if you're looking in the taste point of view, when the fish is grown in a natural environment, the feeding habit is entirely different. So the biochemical composition of fish will be entirely different, the fish grown in the pond environment. So definitely there is a your flesh composition of the nutrients. When you eat a natural product and when you eat a artificial product, the taste will be entirely different. And you cannot mimic a natural product of grown fish in the sea or river in the pond system. So this is more about the environment the fish is grown and the product the fish has eaten.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Sudhir Dalakia has asked, what are the precautions to be taken in this pandemic situation for shrimp farming? Any changes are there?
Yeah, actually, there are a lot of guidelines. If you want a detailed answer, please get into the SIBA, Central Institute of Brackish-Water Aquaculture website. They have given the proper guidelines for the shrimp farmers. But what I would suggest you, if you have already stocked your pond, okay, so my request would be whoever the farmers are working or you himself, you at least look into for your monthly monitoring of your health and farmers' health status. That is more important. And already the social norms are there, like social distancing and other things. Make sure that when outsiders are coming into your farm site, make sure that they are not coming from any containment zone or any quarantine facilities. So there is no specific to shrimp farming, but as far as human being is, when human intervention is there, you need to be careful about your movement in the farm site.
Yeah, thank you. So one Ms. Parimala Basappa has asked, can you mention
Yes, ma'am, please continue.
about the genetically modified ornamental fishes? One Ms. Parimala Basappa has asked, can you mention about the genetically modified ornamental fishes? Hello?
See, genetically modified, I can hear. Genetically modified ornamental fish.
Mahendran,
this is a glow fish which
hello?
is developed in. Hello, can.
Mahendran?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, we could hear you, and sir, yes, ma'am, we could hear you, and sir has started answering.
The genetically modified ornamental fish, if you look into, already established a glow fish which was developed by a National University of Singapore. It was as a biomarker for pollution. Okay. And we have started working on the few transparent fish like Labuoka, Chandanama for ornamental, transgenic ornamental.
I think that's most of the question. One, Mr. Sajid Ahmed has asked, is WSSB infects the freshwater cultures in mass mortality in India?
Sorry, ma'am?
Is WSSB infects the freshwater cultures in mass mortality? The reason for the mass mortality in India? Is the virus the reason for the mass mortality in India?
No, this is related. Yeah. WSSB, it was a reason for the mass mortality in case of the monodon actually.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I think
Sir,
This is, 1 minute, please. This is again Dr. Santanam. Actually, I would like to convey my sincere thanks and appreciation to the esteemed Guru Nanak College, especially the principal and the authorities of this esteemed college and organizing secretary of this program for bringing an eminent scientist, those who have a real on-on experience and field experience to share their knowledge with the participants. So in this context, I appreciate the college for organizing such a wonderful event for the benefit of the society. I once again congratulate and thank the resource person and organizing committee. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. I think those are the questions.
Sir, madam, one Dr. Queen Elizabeth has asked, is it possible to preserve freshwater fish in the market?
No, I didn't get preserve in the sense freshwater fish. What preserve by means of what?
Actually, the question says, is it possible, preserved formalin added freshwater fish to be sold in the market?
No. This formaldehyde, everybody knows it's a highly carcinogenic. There is a issue in Orissa and West Bengal, and if you track the news portals in website. So there is the issue of inclusion of formaldehyde in some of the fishes from coming from Andhra Pradesh. So Bihar government banned, Assam government banned. So formaldehyde cannot be a chemical to preserve the fish. And now there is a kits are available which can give you the freshness of the fish. CIFT Cochin has come out with the kit for the freshness, even to detect the formaldehyde. Also, even Sipri Barakpur also has come out with a kit which can identify the formaldehyde contamination. But my request is never get into the formaldehyde contamination. And when you buy any iced fish, look into the gill color. Take a swab in your finger. You can, if the slime deposit is more, don't go for buying those items actually.
Yes, sir. One Miss Bhageshri Shivakumar has asked it, sir.
I am Dr.
Hello.
Haidarli from New College.
Yeah, please, sir.
So, what is the validity time for Indian major crops like Atla, Rogu, Mirigal after freezing?
I didn't get you, sir. What is the time of
Validity.
The
after
expiry date after freezing.
See, the freezing means you are freezing in minus 80, minus 20 or the not.
Frozen. Yeah, the
Frozen
Atla,
means
Rogu, Mirigal, India, they are exporting a large quantity to abroad.
No, sir. Katla rohu, we have very less export. Mostly the abroad rohu, what you are getting is more from Bangladesh. We have a less freshwater product. But see, the question is, if it is maintain the frozen quality parameter, then when you thaw it, if the tenderness of the flesh is good, you can use it. If you feel the fleshes are already segregated, this should not use. But the best way is, if the frozen condition is best, you should finish up the fish within 96 to 100 hours. Don't go beyond that, sir.
So 3 months or 4 months?
No, 3 months, 4 months, it's impossible, sir. The fish don't have any nutritive value, even though you are having good frozen. But that's what I'm telling you. If the frozen parameters are good, you can have it. Like the way they're using for individual quick freezing for the shrimps. So the freshwater, if it caught pieces, de-skinned, de-scaled, the shelf life will more. But as a whole fish, I don't recommend anybody to go more than 5 days.
5 days, okay. So any availability of eicosapentaenic acids in the Indian major crop?
Sorry?
EPA, that is called eicosapentaenic acid. Actually, in marine now, there are a lot of fishes, they are having the eicosapentaenic acid, which will reduce the cholesterol level in man. Like that, even in the Indian major crops, whether the EPA is available.
Sir, actually, I am not from a biochemistry background. I cannot tell you, but I can answer to the this organizer. They can reply you. So you just put a question. I am requesting organizer to put the question to me in mail. I will come to the right person from a nutrition group. I will come back and answer you, sir.
Okay, thank you, sir. Very kind of.
Yeah.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much, sir. I think all the questions have been answered by you, and we had a maximum of 250 participants, which could be accommodated in the Google Meet, sir. And in fact, I had to deny people.
Ms. Bhageshri Shivakumar has asked, sir, will the feed given for the fish?
Sorry?
Sir, one question. Sir, will the feed given for the fish influence its taste and nutrition that we gain from it?
Yeah, that is obvious. It is obvious. See, because the fish has to the feed has to translate it into a different properties, and it helps in the growing of the flesh or muscle of the fish. So it varies absolutely.
Thank you, sir. Ma'am? Ma'am? Dean Research, ma'am? Okay. Sir, in such case, I think she has some connectivity issue. Ma'am? Okay, sir. Thank you very much, sir, for your time and your valuable presence and your presentation. And I also thank Dr. Santhanam Perumal, sir, from Bharathidasan University, who has also provided a lot of inputs and insights in today's session. And no duty is more urgent than returning thanks. It is my proud privilege to propose the vote of thanks on this.
Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
So I think Kesavan sir has to go Yes, sir. Yes, I'm here, sir. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. We are able to hear you, ma'am. Please proceed.
Hello. Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
Am I audible, sir?
Ma'am, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. You're audible, ma'am. Ma'am, yes, you're audible. Ma'am, please go ahead, ma'am.
Hello.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. We are able to hear you.
Yes, ma'am, we can hear you, please.
Mahendran, sir.
Yes, ma'am. We are able to hear you, ma'am. Please go ahead, ma'am.
Very sorry about my network, sir. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Really?
Yes, ma'am. You're audible. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, sir. First of all, I would like to endorse the statement told by Mr. Perumal Sandhanam from Bharatiya University. He has put it very nicely that you are the most resourceful person that we have seen. The very expertise, the experience that you have in terms of biotechnology and talking about this fish and fish breeding and other things. It is really very interesting also to hear, as well as it's very informative to all the students as well as the staff members, the upcoming scientists here today. We have a very diversified group of people who have joined, right from UG, PG students and research scientists have joined, and also farmers from across the country have joined. I think it's a very, very, we are really gifted for having you today among us, sir. And when we put out the invite saying that Dr. Jitendra Kumar Sundare is going to give his presentations today, I had a lot of people messaging me telling that it's a wonderful speaker. We'd like to hear from him. And I know you're a very busy person for having accepted the invitation and being with us today and giving such a wonderful talk on innovation, technology transfer. I'm very happy today. I heard one thing about Jayanti Rohu, something connected to my name also.
Yeah,
So I
yes.
really enjoyed the entire session. Yeah, absolute. It was absolute delight, sir, to watch you and to learn. And it's a learning process for all of us, sir. Thank you so much for having accepted our invitation here and to having been here, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Please, I would request you to interact with our students and also tell them more on the importance of aquaculture as an industry, as a prominent sector, as a very vital sector, which is going to give employability to a lot of the youngsters out there. And please be in touch with us, sir, and keep motivating all our students. Thank you so much, sir.
Sure.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Mahendran, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Sir. Yes, I can just finish with the concluding remarks, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
And the instructions for tomorrow.
Yes, ma'am. I, on behalf of the Guru Nanak Center for Research, Guru Nanak College, wish to extend a very hearty thanks to all the dignitaries for gracing this function and sharing with us their valuable time today. I would like to extend my grateful thanks to our Honorable Resource Person, Dr. Jitendra Kumar Sundare, Principal Scientist and Head, Division of Fish Genetics and Biotechnology at ICAR SIFA, Odisha, for readily accepting our invitation and sparing his valuable time with us in the midst of his academic and hectic schedule. Sir, we are all inspired by your valued thoughts and lucid and detailed presentation. I also sincerely thank our college management, especially our most revered General Secretary and Correspondent, Mr. Manjit Singh Nair, our respected Principal, Dr. M.G. Raghunathan, for constant support, guidance, and help for all our activities. I thank our Vice Principal Students Affairs, Dr. L.R.S. Kalanidhi, for her valuable presence and delivering the welcome address for today's session of the conclave. I thank our Dean Research, Dr. J. Jayanti, who constantly plan and execute by organizing a large number of academic, research, and extension activities for the benefit of students, faculty, and society at large. I thank the deans of various schools, heads, and faculty of various departments of Guru Nanak College for your support and active participation in yesterday and today's session. Last but not the least, I thank all the participants from across the country, and we have few participants from Philippines also who have patiently been watching the session and your again. Thank you very much. There are few instructions to the participants. The feedback link for the today's session have been posted in the chat box. Kindly submit that within the stipulated time. Tomorrow we shall meet at 2 o'clock for the third day session of the conclave. Thank you very much.
So thank you once again, all of you, for giving me this chance and opportunity. Hopefully, once Corona is over, I'll visit your college. And in fact, Chennai is my second home. I always prefer to go to Chennai. So that is it. Thank you all of you.
Sir, it was an absolute delight hearing to you, and especially when we heard "Aire Meene" from your slang. It was very beautiful to hear that words. Very nice of you, and we can understand the kind of thing you are based very much. Your heart is very much in Chennai, and we could see with the expertise that you're holding throughout the talk, sir. Thank you so much, Sundaresh, sir.
Thank you.
Want to know more about these topics? Please follow us at Guru Nanak Center for Research YouTube page, Facebook, Instagram, and don't forget to subscribe our channel. Thank you.